Hello?
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Dusan Petrovsky calling again. Is Mr. Marquardt available?
Yes, he is. Hold on a second, I put you through.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Marquardt. My name is Dusan Petrovsky. I'm calling from the Committee for Democratization of Republic of Macedonia. We're located in Canada.
Yes.
I'm calling you regarding an opinion by the Venice Commission that was published just the last couple of days regarding the illustration law in Macedonia.
Yes.
Now, from what was published, I can see you weren't part of the opinion, but I hope you're familiar with...
I may not be familiar with every detail, but I'm familiar with the overall gist of the opinion. Yes.
Okay. There are a couple of issues that I sort of want to bring up, and hopefully you can direct me forward. Paragraph 27 says that the Commission is not aware of any exceptional historic political circumstances having occurred in the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia after the adoption of Constitution. There were dossiers that were conducted in Macedonia past 1991, and they were published or they were made available to the public in 2000. There's about 4,000 of these dossiers that are in the archive of the Republic of Macedonia. So clearly the Venice Commission wasn't made aware of this from what we can see here.
Well, I suppose this paragraph has also be read together with paragraph 26, so if it is not exceptional circumstances, it's of course relevant circumstances in this context of activities aiming to overthrow the constitutional order, etc.
But the dossiers were governed by governing ordinances for the operation of the Secret Service, which were adopted in 1992 and then 1995, and then there was no, they were basically conducted in an unconstitutional manner. Phones were tapped without warrants, people were followed again without warrants being issued by the courts. Now these ordinances were published in a closed circuit publication of the official Gazette of the Republic of Macedonia, which is not available to the public, but it's available to, say, the Constitutional Court and the government. And so we have a situation where there was unconstitutional acts being systematically perpetrated by the
early 90s.
In the early, between 1991 and the last dossiers that were available were going up to 1997 and 1998. When the dossiers were released, the statute of limitations on the crimes was already passed, so the victims weren't able to take their cases to court.
Yeah.
So, given that, can we submit some more? Can we submit some evidence to the Commission regarding this opinion, or can we make a request to the Commission for an opinion on this specific issue?
Regarding submitting material, in principle, the issue is closed here. Of course, we can send the material to the rapporteurs, but there will not be an additional opinion by the Commission. And in fact, the purpose of the amicus curiae, this basically means also that we are a bit careful in drawing the conclusions ourselves, that we tell the Constitutional Court the international perspective, and it is of course up to the Constitutional Court to Macedonia, and these shed a somewhat different light on the issue from what we got from the Venice Commission. I think this is something which is more now for the Constitutional Court to adapt the standards more precisely to the situation in the country.
Yeah. See, what worries us here is the opinion is getting is already being misused over there, and essentially what you have is two remnants of the communist regime that are still running the country. And so the one side is saying that essentially the anti-lustration side is saying, well, okay, here we have an opinion from a body of the European Union that says lustration, there's no need for any action to be taken past 1991. And like I said, I understand the limitations of the opinion. I understand the limitations of the opinion are where you're coming from. I'm trying to see if there's something that we can do to sort of counter that notion that, okay, this is sort of the last word on lustration for 1991, because like I said, I think it's already being interpreted as that, because the Constitutional Court did not provide this when they asked for this opinion from your commission. They did not submit a full picture of what the actual situation was and why we're asking for lustration past 1991. Now, in addition, we have asylum granted to actually my father, who is one of these victims that were being processed past 1991 by Canada, based on the dossier, based on the court, the inactivity of the Macedonian court in the public prosecution. Like, for instance, when the dossiers were published in 2000, the public prosecutor did not take any action concerning that.
Yeah, well, let's say, of course, I now would also have problems to say whether the Commission would see things differently if it had been aware of these precise events, where it makes sense 15 years afterwards to deal with it by way of lustration. Still, I think we do not express a very precise opinion on the Macedonian case for the reason we have explained to you, but I say generally lustration is more something which should be done immediately.
Immediately, yeah.
Direction to a dictatorial regime, and it's also difficult in a case when, well, there have been amendments to the Constitution, the Ohrid Agreement, etc., but overall there has been continuity in the state since 1991. So the issue of lustration would seem extremely tricky to me, even taking into account what he told me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, in that case, if we were to, can an organization, non-government organization like ours, submit a request for an opinion to the?
No.
No.
We can only give a request at the opinion of the state or of governmental organizations with which we're working, EU basically, in the OECD.
Or a parliamentary organization. Okay.
Well, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe can, I could say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I understand. Can I quote you on what you said regarding article or paragraph 27, that given basically what you just said, the opinion is as such that if there are exceptional historic political circumstances, then lustration is applicable in Macedonia past 1990.
Well, let's say it's applicable. I certainly didn't say that the most could be applicable, or let's say that could change the picture, but I think it depends on the precise circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, we don't want to say now lustration in Macedonia, yes or no, but more to put forward general principles, and it's up to the court to draw the conclusions for the case.
Okay, yeah, I think, well, I mean, it certainly is the way I interpret it as well, but like I say, we're a little bit worried as to how it's being taken in Macedonia by certain groups who are against lustration, specifically because I believe they fear that they were involved in one thing or another in the proceedings that went on past 1991. Okay. Well, I don't know if there's much more that I can really get from you right now. So thank you for the time you took.
Okay.
If there's any other questions, can I get in touch with you again?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. You have a good day.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.